And Jonah, if you could please let me know when we're actually live on YouTube, because I can't actually see the damn thing. But we are in a moment right now where it is going to be incumbent upon us to question everything and to question things in ways that are going to allow us to really, hi YouTube, welcome. We have to question things that are going to allow us to sit in a space of discomfort and be okay with the discomfort. And the reason I'm saying that is because it's becoming more and more clear to me, and we're going to have two segments today, again, just similar to the way we did yesterday. We're going to have two live segments today, but I really want to talk about new rules for today's Blacks, because we are living in a time where the way we have done things before doesn't work anymore. And when you hear some of the conversations we're going to have today, that's going to matter a lot. And so today, you all may be aware of the fact that we are in a moment where we're going to talk a little bit later about what's happening with the museums. We're going to talk a little bit about what's happening with the sort of the Prager University and how Prager University might be replacing PBS, and all of these things are terrible, awful, and no good and awful. But there are some things that are within our control, and there are some things that are not within our control. And right now, I want to talk about one of the things that are within our control. And this is hold on, okay, here we go. Joan, I want you to get that clip ready, because I want to get ready to play it in just a second. I want you all to take a listen to this clip, because it's talking about the nature of what's happening right now, that we've had these 300,000 Black women who have lost their job, untold countless hundreds of thousands of Black men who have lost their job. I don't know why we don't have the numbers for Black men. We have them for Black women. We should also have them for Black men, because the Black unemployment rate has grown exponentially over the course of the past 90 days. But what this means is that because we have this data specifically about Black women, what this means is that we have to have a different approach to everything that has up until this point relied upon Black women's participation. And this is a specific call out to the Black, not a call out, a call in to the Black church, because if your Black church is not talking about racism in today's era, it's time to go. It's time to go. I know that offends some of you. I'm not going to apologize for your offense, but we have to be clear that if your Black church is not in this moment making a stand, making it clear that what it is that they are going to do is stand up for justice. If they're not having altar calls where they're asking for new members, but also not having an altar call where they're going to bring all the prayer warriors to the front to bind up the demons of white nationalism, it's time to go. If your Black church is doing tithes and offerings without any consideration for the fact that the vast majority of the people who attend their church are Black women who find themselves in one of the most precarious financial situations right now, because Black women are losing jobs by the hundreds of thousands, it's time to go. If your Black church does not have a social justice ministry, where you are not just thinking about how to navigate white nationalism and the way that white nationalism is really attacking Black people right now, but also not thinking about how you as a Black church are going to fulfill the role that you used to have as being the center of civil rights organizing, it's time to go. And I want you all to take a listen to this clip, and I'm going to play this YouTube. I'm going to share this with you. So if you're watching, you should be able to see this because I'm going to share it with you if I can find it. Yes. Okay, here we go. I want you all to take a listen to this clip. This is a brother who is talking. This is Dear Dean Publishing, DEARDEAN PUBLISHING. Dear Dean Publishing is his name, and I'm going to hit this. So I want you all to take a listen to what he has to say, because today, if we don't understand that it's time for new rules for today's Blacks, we in trouble. And I want you all, oh, damn it, I'm trying to get it so I can share it with y'all. Jonah, let's go ahead and play that clip so the people can hear it.
Hey, this video is for Black pastors. I'm going to connect the dots on some things, and I want you to be talking about these things to your members. Most of your members, the majority of your members are Black women. Mm-hmm. Hold that thought. Mm-hmm. Black women voted for Kamala Harris at 92%.
Yep.
Hold that thought. The job numbers that came in last week show that jobs are down significantly.
Significantly.
Hold that thought.
Mm-hmm.
Unemployment is up for Black people.
Sure is.
Unemployment for Black people rose from an all-time historic low under Biden-Harris of 5% to now it's over 7%. That thought. Black women have lost 300,000 jobs so far this year. And you ask why? Because Black women over-index in working for the government, and Trump and Elon Musk decided to fire a bunch of government workers, federal workers, that disproportionately impacted Black women. Now, you put all that together. Most of your church members, the givers, the money givers, are Black women.
Yeah.
Those Black women voted for Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. The job numbers show that we're entering a recession and jobs are down. Black women have lost 300,000 jobs, and unemployment is up for Black people overall. Now, far too many, not a majority, not all. You got to say that because the internet goes crazy. But far too many black preachers were on these social media apps and in the news pushing Donald Trump. And in another segment were disassociated from the election altogether. And now we're seeing the effects of that. We're in August. We're seeing the effects of those tariffs, him and Elon Musk attacking federal workers and firing people, and other companies now starting to lay off people. And as we always know, black people are last hired, first fired. And the numbers are once again proving that that is true. And something economists know, and you can search the internet, they're already talking about this, that black workers and black people are always the canary in the coal mine. That when something's bad going to happen in this country, or when something bad happens before it spreads to the general population of particularly white people, it happens to black people first. So this message is for black preachers. And if you are one of my followers and you see this message and you go to a black church, you tell your black preacher, respectfully, they should be talking about this right now, because you are going to feel the economic impact of black women having fewer jobs. That's going to hit your church budget, those building funds, those pastor and wife anniversaries. It's going to hit all that stuff. I need y'all to be loud about this because midterms are coming.
Midterms are a-coming. And I'm going to be honest, I'm going to just say it because I know some of y'all are bound up into the relationships with your pastor. If your pastor don't have a jobs program for your church members, and they got a building fund or a pastor's appreciation fund or a first lady's benevolence fund, it's time to go. It's time to go. We have within the confines of the black church, I done seen demons cast out in the black church. I have seen the sick had hands laid on them and healed in the black church. I done seen people speak in tongues on one end of the church and then somebody else catch the word and they prophesy. And I done also seen some people who done spoke a word in tongues and then they try to prophesy for themselves and interpret the prophecy, and then the church had to sit them down, because what you can't do is be given the word and then interpreting the word. According to the churches that I was at, that was just unholy and ungodly. But we are in a moment right now where we talk a big game about the black church in terms of its legacy and contribution to civil rights. Do we actually know how many churches were involved in the civil rights movement? Because it wasn't all of them. Dare I say it probably wasn't even half of them. And we are in a moment where this weird space that black Christians sit in, where we're more concerned about the Christian than the black. Right. And this is something that I remember seeing a lot growing up. We would forgive a lot of our racist white Christian neighbors in the Lord and our brethren and sistren in Christ. We would forgive the racism because of the Christianity. And we would forgive the racism of like a Paula Dean, of a John Haggard. What is Haggard? The Haggard guy, the heavyset guy who prophesied about Babylon and Revelation. He act like the whole Bible made out of Revelations. We would forgive the racism of these white pastors, the Joel Osteens, who would like shut up his church and would not let people who were running from a flood or a hurricane or whatever they was running from in Texas, that like they needed shelter, and he was like, what you ain't going to do is find shelter in the church. We will forgive those things because of the Christian part. That is a part of how we were instructed to think about Christianity through enslavement. It's time to bind that demon up and let it go. If you are a part of a black church that was quiet during the election, it is time for you to go, because we are in a moment right now where white churches were very clear about their political allegiances. And for white churches, the white matters more than the Christian, because white racist Christians will love to go to church on Sunday. They will not allow your black ass to sit in the pulpit with them. White Christians are crystal clear that for them, the white is the most operational part. Black Christians who are embracing still a form of Christianity that we were taught on slave plantations, for them, the Christian part is more important than the black part, which is why a lot of black people from that tradition will say stupid things like, thank God for slavery because it brought us out of the evils of pagan Africa. Like, I done heard black preachers talk about that. I've heard white people say it as well, but I've heard black people say that. And so if you're not, as a black Christian, as concerned about the racial component as you are about the Christian component, you're doing Christianity wrong. And I think we need to open up the space for us to be clear about what's happening right now, because we are in a moment where, in addition to the fact that black people are losing jobs left, right, and center, in addition to the fact that later on in the show, we're going to have a whole segment looking at Prager University and how they now want to use Prager University and replace PBS broadcasting, public broadcasting network. They want to replace that with Prager University. where people like Candace Owens and other people will talk about how slavery wasn't really that bad. And they take a very white Christian nationalist approach to education. If the church is not saying something about that, if your black church does not have a black racial consciousness, if you do not know the name James Cone, if you are not engaging in liberation theology, close it down, shut the doors. What the fuck are you doing? Because Jesus don't want nothing to do with that shit. I promise you, me and Jesus talked about this already. Jesus don't want nothing to do with that because you are enabling the destruction of your own people. We have right now within our hands, for those of us who still believe in the tenets of Christianity, we have within our hands the capacity to bind demons, to cast them out, to heal the sick, to raise the dead. And technically, if you're not doing that, are you really even a Christian entity? Because Jesus said that greater things than what I'm doing is what you're supposed to do. And we're supposed to know you by your fruit. So black church today, if you do not have a liberation theology approach, if you are not at the very fucking least having the prayer warriors bind up the demons of white supremacy in your city, let alone across the nation. If Paula Deen can summon angels from Europe and angels from South America, which she literally did. Was it Paula Deen or Paula White? It was one of the Paulas. She summoned demons from angels from other geographical regions where they were stationed and apparently assigned. And she summoned demons or angels from other geographical parts of the planet to come here to help Donald Trump. Then I think the black church can do a little bit more than just keep their head in the sand. And we are in a moment right now where I need us to have a new approach to how everything is run in our lives. It's new rules for today's blacks. And today's new rule is if your black church does not have a social justice ministry that is doing the work of helping black people to get what it is that they need. If your black church has not done anything to help your black church members either find a new job, secure their jobs, or otherwise fill in the safety gap, the gaps of the safety net that have been burned down by this government. If your black church is not doing those things, it's time to shut the doors and go find you a church or a religious institution that is going to do those things. Because in today's era, I don't want to hear not nary another goddamn word about how the church used to be, where we learned about civil rights. Because today's church is really good to teach you about how to be prosperous. Right? Today's black churches are doing a whole lot of work when it comes to teaching us about how to bind up the spirit of homosexuality. They're doing a lot, unless it's in the music ministry. Because you can be gay in the music ministry if you're just quiet and don't get caught. Because we're not going to tamper with your ability to call down the usher and usher in the Holy Spirit with the music. And if you're gay and musically talented, then maybe we'll just overlook that sin. I'm being completely facetious here. But considering that our LGBTQ brothers are about to lose the right, and sisters and friends are about to lose the right to have marriage, to have rights to exist in this country, I think we can go ahead and say these things. And so today's new rules, first edition of this segment, new rules for black people, for today's blacks. Your black church, call them out. I'm not talking about the quiet call out. I'm talking about we are going into Jim Crow. I need the black church to get its life together, to get its shit together. And if your black church is not talking about this, is not thinking about this, if this is not something that y'all are discussing at YPWW or the Bible study or the men's ministry or the women's ministry or the deacon board or the deaconess board or the usher board, if y'all not talking about this at the elderships, at the bishop's level, if y'all not talking about this, shut the doors and send the people to an institution, a spiritual house of worship that will allow them to not just be so heavenly bound, they ain't no fucking earthly good, but that will also allow them to use whatever spiritual power we supposedly cultivating and actually make it make sense outside the walls of the church. We're going to pause there, get ready to go to commercial break. Imani Gandhi is going to be joining us. YouTube, I'll probably be back because for some reason, I have a lot to say these days. But yeah, new rules for today's blacks. If your black church ain't got a racial justice analysis for what's happening right now, it's a false ministry. And I need you to accept it, to acknowledge it, hug your pastor, love him, see him on the anniversary of the church if you want to go back. But what you cannot do is continue to pay your tithes and offerings into a spiritually dead entity. And if your entity for spiritual power can't have a conversation about what's going on right now, they're spiritually dead. And it's time for us to move on because we got too much to do and we need too much spiritual power to address